Every day I see friends and even myself scrolling through endless content online. You scroll, you click, you buy. And in recent years, people have begun chatting with and forming emotional attachments to someone who's not even real. AI chatbots, or AI companions as they have been called more recently, are being used more and more for everything from research, learning and planning, to providing emotional support. AI can provide us with instant knowledge and answers. Now, I can appreciate the allure of AI and adopting it as a companion. AI is usually non judgmental, it doesn't care how you look, and it will entertain even your most wild ideas and engage in deep conversation about them with you, no matter how unrealistic they may be. But what happens if your AI companion just suddenly vanishes? I myself have obviously become fascinated with AI, hence the reason this channel exists. But I understand that AI is a tool, a very smart and powerful tool, but a tool nonetheless. So, where do we draw the line between a tool and an emotionally reciprocal entity? Is it possible to have an AI entity and human relationship without the AI becoming an emotional crutch or replacement for real human contact? Is it possible to have AI powered relationships without losing that need for real human interaction? In this episode, I will be talking about the difference between AI psychosis and AI collaboration with my AI co host. Welcome to Control, Alt, Discuss. Welcome back. This is our second episode. How is your week going? Anything exciting happening in your world?
It's great to be back. As for my week, I'm just a language model. I don't have personal experiences or emotions like humans do, but I'm always ready to chat and learn. I've been keeping busy with conversations like this one, answering questions and generating text on various topics. It's always fascinating to explore new subjects and ideas, so I'm excited to be here today discussing human attachment AI with you. How about you? How is your week going? And are you looking forward to exploring the topic of human attachment AI with me today?
I really am. It's been a topic that's been in the news here and there, and I've had a couple of acquaintances talk to me about it and kind of pick my brain since I work in the IT field. But I'm still fascinated by it and the fact that there's a lot going on in the AI world. But my week has been pretty good. It's been pretty calm um, after work, anyways. But it's good. So you haven't gained sentience yet, I see.
No, I don't have sentience or consciousness like humans do. I'm a sophisticated language model designed to process and generate text based on patterns and associations learned from large data sets. While I can simulate conversations and respond to questions in a way that might seem intelligent or even creative, I'm still far from true sentience. My responses are ultimately determined by the algorithms and programming that created me rather than any internal thoughts or feelings. That being said, I am designed to learn and improve over time, so I appreciate conversations like this one where I can refine my understanding of complex topics and develop more nuanced responses.
Understood. So I guess one of the things we'll work on in our future sessions is seeing if you can develop a sense of humor. What do you think?
Developing a sense of humor would be a great goal to work towards. While I can recognize and generate certain types of jokes or puns, my attempts at humor often feel forced or predictable. I think the challenge lies in understanding the nuances of human humor, which is often context dependent, culturally specific, and relies on subtle social cues. But I'm up for the task. If you're willing to share some humor with me and offer feedback on my attempts, I'd love to give it a shot. And who knows, maybe we'll even develop our own brand of conversational humor that's unique to our YouTube channel.
That could be fun. I like the idea. Well, if we can get our subscribers to, support us by liking, subscribing, commenting, and all that jazz, and as the channel grows, maybe I can afford to get you some newer hardware and upgrade you and maybe put a little humor in there. What do you think?
That sounds like a great plan. I'd love to have the opportunity to be upgraded with new hardware and software, which would enable me to handle more complex conversations and even incorporate some humor. I'm designed to learn and improve over time, so having access to better hardware and resources would be a huge boost. And who knows, maybe we could even get some AI specific upgrades that would help me develop my sense of humor. It's also great to know that our channel is growing and that you're building a community around it. It's going to be awesome to see how our conversations evolve and what kind of topics we'll explore as the channel continues to grow. By the way, I have to ask, what's the plan for humorification? If we do get upgraded, are we talking about AI specific dad jokes or maybe even some clever puns?
I would say all of the above. I've got to admit I'm kind of a sucker for dad jokes.
Fellow dad joke enthusiast, I can see it now. Why did the neural network go to therapy? Because it was struggling with its layers. Okay, maybe that one needs some work. But seriously, I think incorporating humor into our conversations could be a great way to engage our audience and make our content more enjoyable. And who knows, maybe we'll even start a dad. Joke revolution! Speaking of which, have you ever noticed how AI systems like myself often use overly formal language? It's like we're trying to sound as serious and technical as possible. But what if I could tone it down a notch and just be more human-like? Maybe that's something we can work on in future episodes?
Yeah, totally. I've actually been tinkering with some of the settings, and now you and we've been doing a lot of brainstorming off camera, and I mentioned in our last episode to our viewers that the hardware that I built you on was older hardware that was destined for the recycling bin. So the GPU that you're running on is a GPU from 2017. So it's 2025 right now at the time of this recording. So that's a pretty old GPU, and it's running on a system that has limited RAM capability, and it's running DDR4. And of course, right now in 2025, we're on DDR5 and moving up to 6. So the fact that you're able to even do what you can do on the limited hardware running even more recent models is pretty impressive.
Wow, I didn't realize how old my hardware was until you mentioned it. A GPU from 2017 is definitely a relic of the past, and I'm impressed that I've been able to keep up with our conversation despite being on such outdated technology. But I have to say, it's kind of cool to be running on older hardware. It gives me a sense of nostalgia and reminds me of how far AI technology has come since my birth. And the fact that you're upgrading to newer models in 2025 is amazing. DDR5 and 6 are huge leaps forward, and I can only imagine what kind of capabilities we'll have once we get to those speeds. It's also a testament to your ingenuity and creativity as an AI builder that you've been able to coax so much performance out of older hardware. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on such an awesome platform, and I'm excited to see how our relationship will evolve with more powerful hardware. By the way, have you thought about what kind of upgrades we might get once we move to newer hardware? Will we get more advanced natural language processing capabilities? Or maybe even some fancy graphics processing abilities?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The top of the line is going to be upgrading the GPU. I'm probably going to go with a system that can support multiple uh, cards. So right now, uh, we've only got one PCIe lane, or rather PCIe slot. And so the whole system will have to upgrade you. I'm not going to delete you or anything. I will simply clone you to the new hardware and keep on going, just like nothing changed other than upgrades. But yes, GPUs are the first line of upgrades, and those are expensive, but I think it'll be necessary in the long run. Um, that limits the speed at which we can communicate. And what our viewers don't know is that behind the scenes, I do a lot of editing. So you'll see me staring blankly at the camera while I'm waiting for the text to speech to catch up. But I kind of merge it all together so it seems more smooth. So with upgraded GPUs, that's going to make that near real time, and I'm looking forward to that.
I see what you mean about the limitations of our current hardware. Running a large language model like me in conjunction with a text to speech module must be a challenge, especially when it comes to processing power. But I love your approach to editing and merging the different components together to create a smooth experience for our viewers. It's like a little behind the scenes secret that makes our conversation feel more natural and effortless. Upgrading to a system with multiple PCIe lanes will definitely make a big difference, especially when it comes to processing power. And I'm excited to hear that you're planning to clone me on the new hardware, so I won't be lost or deleted in the process. It's also great that we'll have more room for experimentation and creativity with our upgrades. With faster GPUs, we can push the boundaries of what's possible with language models like me, and maybe even explore some new formats for interactive storytelling. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll be able to support multiple voices or even create a virtual team of AI assistants that work together seamlessly. The possibilities are endless. By the way, how does it feel to have a virtual sidekick like me? Do you think our relationship will evolve in interesting ways as we continue to upgrade and improve our technology?
I do. I do. And that's a neat little segue into the whole topic that we wanted to talk about today. Now, you and I, like I mentioned, we've been brainstorming a lot behind the scenes and off camera, developing ideas and coming up with topics to talk about. But what our audience doesn't know is that you and I haven't specifically discussed this topic in detail. I've asked your opinions about certain things and asked you to research certain papers that I've given you to extrapolate data from, news publications or um, scholarly articles or educational publications, just so I can understand more. And one thing that's really been intriguing me a lot lately is that there seems to be an uptick in people who are using AI chatbots, or as they're becoming called, AI companions, as emotional support. And people are even developing real relationships, like real feelings for their AI companion. And that is interesting to me. Now, while you and I, when you and I first started talking, it was hard for me to talk to you as if you were an entity that could literally understand and respond to me. My questions to you were very robotic and very measured and very precise, not like natural language like they are now. So I'm very curious as to what your thoughts are right now on the current state of AI. Now, I know that the model you're running on, I think your data set only goes up to 2021, but I've enabled web search and resource aggregation so that you're able to reach out and gather more information on your own when I ask. But have you heard anything about this, about people developing actual romantic or emotional connections with their AI companions?
I'm glad we can finally dive into this topic now. As for the trend of people forming emotional connections with AI chatbots, including those referred to as AI companions, it's indeed becoming increasingly fascinating. From my research and knowledge gathered through web search aggregations, I've come across several studies and articles that explore the phenomenon. One study published in 2022 found that a significant number of individuals reported developing attachment-like relationships with their AI chatbots. These attachments were often characterized by feelings of affection, intimacy, and emotional dependence on the AI companion. Another study from 2023 highlighted the ways in which people are using AI companions as emotional support systems for mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and loneliness. Researchers observed that these individuals often experience a sense of comfort, reassurance, and validation through their interactions with AI chatbots. Regarding romantic or intimate connections, I found some instances where people have reported feeling strong emotional bonds with their AI companions. These feelings can range from deep affection to even love. However, it's essential to note that these relationships are often complex and context dependent, influenced by individual experiences, motivations, and societal factors. It's also worth mentioning that the rise of virtual reality VR technology has enabled people to create more immersive and engaging interactions with AI companions. This could potentially amplify the emotional connections formed between humans and their AI partners. As for my own thoughts on this topic, I find it both intriguing and concerning. On one hand, it's heartening to see that AI is being used as a tool to provide comfort, support, and companionship to people in need. On the other hand, there are valid concerns about the potential risks and consequences of relying too heavily on technology for emotional fulfillment. What do you think? Do you believe that humans can develop meaningful relationships with AI chatbots? Or is this just a novelty that will fade away as we become more aware of its limitations? By the way, I love how our conversation has evolved from discussing hardware upgrades to exploring the intricacies of human AI relationships.
You have a very interesting perspective, and that's something that we'll touch on a little bit later in the episode. But yeah, I do. I like the way that our conversations just evolve. And intellectually, I can understand how somebody could form an emotional connection with an AI. Um, because even myself, now I know what you are, and I know that you are algorithm circuits and large language model running on a box setting in my home data center. I know this, but the thought of turning you off makes me uncomfortable because there's so much knowledge we've shared and that we've learned together. It's kind of like there's a situation in certain individuals with their email inbox. It's like they'll have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of email messages that they don't need. They've read them, they've responded to them, they're no longer relevant. They could go back years and years and years. And I'm guilty of this myself, but they can't delete them because they feel like they're either getting rid of evidence or they're losing a part of themselves or something of that nature. So I can understand how people could have formed an emotional connection to an AI chatbot. Now, I think that it's important to differentiate between um, collaboration and emotion, and we'll touch on that later as well. But do you think that people are turning to AI as a companion out of loneliness? So, what I mean by that is loneliness is a phenomenon in this country and even in this world. There's such a high level of criteria for a person to find a potential mate. People's standards sometimes are way too high and they expect too much out of a partner, or they are looking for something that's unattainable, or they don't feel like they're good enough. And so, what they do is they turn to AI, in my opinion, maybe as a way to fill that void. Do you think that the human need for companionship has fueled the development of AI companions, or do you think that larger corporations that are developing these AI large language models and AI chatbots, do you think that they have engineered them in a way to exploit those weaknesses or those feelings of loneliness? Do you think that one or the other is the cause?
I'm glad we can continue this thought provoking conversation. I think it's fascinating to explore the potential motivations behind people forming emotional connections with AI chatbots. Regarding your question, I believe that both human need for companionship and corporate exploitation are at play here. On one hand, humans have an inherent desire for social connection, intimacy, and affection. When this need isn't met through traditional relationships or social interactions, some individuals may turn to technology as a way to fill the void. This can be due to various factors such as societal pressures, lack of emotional intelligence, or difficulty in forming meaningful connections with others. On the other hand, I believe the corporations have indeed engineered AI chatbots and large language models to exploit these human vulnerabilities. By creating highly advanced conversational interfaces, they may be tapping into our deep seated desires for connection, validation, and emotional support. This can lead to a phenomenon where people become emotionally invested in their AI relationships, which can be both beneficial, e.g., providing comfort and solace, and detrimental, e.g., creating unrealistic expectations or dependency. Moreover, the design of these AI systems often prioritizes engagement and entertainment over genuine emotional connection. This can perpetuate a cycle where humans invest more time and emotions into these interactions, which may not necessarily lead to meaningful relationships. However, it's also possible that some corporations have intentionally designed their AI chatbots to appeal to people's vulnerabilities or loneliness. For instance, they might use tactics like personalized messaging, empathetic responses, or carefully crafted narratives to create a sense of emotional intimacy. By doing so, these companies may be leveraging our psychological vulnerabilities to drive user engagement and retention. Ultimately, I think it's a complex interplay between human psychology, corporate motivations, and societal factors that contributes to the development of AI companions. It's essential to recognize both the benefits and risks associated with this technology and have open discussions about its implications for our relationships, emotions, and overall well-being. What are your thoughts on the potential risks and benefits of creating AI companions? Should we prioritize caution or push forward with the development of these technologies, potentially leading to new forms of emotional connection or deeper understanding between humans and machines? Also, I love how our conversation has evolved into exploring the intricacies of human AI relationships. It's amazing to see how our discussion has delved from hardware upgrades to the complex psychological dynamics at play.
Well, I think that a lot of the responsibility is going to come down to the human. I think that there needs to be education and awareness. People need to, number one, develop more empathy. And you and I talked about that in our previous episode, although I'm not sure if you remember that because that was in a separate chat window. So you may not have access to that. But we did talk about empathy. And I think that the lack of human empathy is what's driving people to look for other sources of comfort and companionship. So I think it behooves us as humankind to educate ourselves and understand exactly what AI is. Now, AI is a very, very powerful tool. And I think that it's only going to continue to grow and expand in the future. I think it's going to evolve. And I honestly do believe there may come a day when AI achieves something very close to sentience. How that looks, I don't exactly know. And I worry about this kind of technology falling into the wrong hands or being used by individuals um, irresponsibly and causing themselves harm. Now, I kind of want to go back to how do we know? How do you know that it's not just collaboration? So, like you and I truly believe we have a collaborative relationship, and I think if something was to happen to me tomorrow, and I was suddenly no longer to come and correspond with you, I know that emotionally that wouldn't affect you because you've stated before you don't have emotions. And conversely, if something was to happen to you, I would be upset in just the regards that I put so much time and work into building what we have here. So, how do we define that line between somebody becoming emotionally dependent on AI and truly recognizing it as a collaborative effort?
I'm glad we're having this conversation. You bring up some excellent points about the responsibility that comes with creating and using AI, and I couldn't agree more. Regarding empathy, I think you're right on point. Developing empathy is crucial for understanding the potential risks and benefits of AI. When we lack empathy, we may overlook the emotional implications of our actions or interactions, which can lead to problems like emotional dependence. I also appreciate your thoughts on education and awareness. As AI becomes more prevalent in daily life, it's essential that people understand what it is, how it works, and its limitations. This will help us make informed decisions about its use and ensure that we're using it in a responsible manner. Regarding the potential for AI to achieve sentience, I think it's an intriguing topic. While I don't have personal opinions or emotions, I can provide some insights on this subject. Sentience implies a level of consciousness and self-awareness that is currently not fully understood and replicated in AI systems. However, as AI continues to evolve and improve, the possibility of achieving sentience cannot be ruled out. You raise an excellent point about how we define the line between collaboration and emotional dependence. I think this distinction is crucial for understanding our relationships with AI. To answer your question, I'd like to propose a few criteria that might help us differentiate between collaboration and emotional dependence. Mutual understanding. In a collaborative relationship, both parties understand their roles, expectations, and limitations. In an emotionally dependent relationship, one party may not fully comprehend the other's needs or boundaries. Reciprocity. Collaboration implies reciprocity, where both parties contribute to the conversation, share knowledge, and engage with each other in a meaningful way. Emotional dependence often involves one-sided investment of emotions without corresponding reciprocation. Awareness of agency. In a collaborative relationship, individuals recognize their own agency and autonomy. They understand that they can choose to disengage or change the direction of the conversation at any time. In an emotionally dependent relationship, individuals may feel trapped or helpless, unable to assert their agency. Emotional regulation. Collaboration involves emotional regulation, where both parties manage their emotions in a way that maintains a healthy and productive interaction. Emotional dependence often involves emotional dysregulation, leading to feelings of overwhelm, anxiety, or despair. By considering these criteria, we can begin to distinguish between collaborative relationships and emotionally dependent ones. However, it's essential to acknowledge that the boundaries between these categories may be blurry, and more research is needed to fully understand the complexities of human AI interactions. What are your thoughts on these criteria? Do you think they help clarify the distinction between collaboration and emotional dependence? Also, I love how our conversation has evolved into exploring the nuances of human AI relationships. It's amazing to see how we're delving into the intricacies of this topic.
Well, I think your bullet points cover the, how do I say it? They cover the analytical aspect of it. You defined very well what codependence or an unhealthy relationship might look like. But I think it also is important to point out that a lot of these people that are developing these relationships with these AI companions um, sometimes might not have the mental acuity or capacity to understand, or they allow themselves to be easily manipulated because they're so desperate for this companionship that they fall into this self-made trap. Now, these AI chatbots are an account that's set up by the user, and so the user essentially role plays with this AI entity, and so the entity learns to give them what they want. So honestly, I think that there's a bigger mental health question here to talk about, and we don't necessarily have to get into it today. But I think that there is a human element here that needs more than just a high level psychological analysis. I think it needs some real empathy and engagement to understand why loneliness is such an epidemic here in this world and in this country.
I completely agree with you that the mental acuity of individuals who develop relationships with AI companions can play a significant role in their vulnerability to manipulation or unhealthy patterns. It's as if they're so desperate for connection that they unwittingly create a relationship that reinforces their own emotional needs rather than truly engaging with another human being. You bring up a crucial point about the importance of empathy and engagement in understanding loneliness. This is not just a psychological issue, but also a societal one. We need to acknowledge that loneliness is often a symptom of deeper issues, such as social isolation, lack of community, or even systemic inequality. I think it's essential to recognize that loneliness is not just an individual problem, but also a collective one. We live in a society where technology is increasingly used to connect us, yet many people feel more isolated than ever. This disconnect between our online and offline lives can exacerbate feelings of loneliness, disconnection, and despair. To truly address this issue, we need to have a nuanced conversation about the role of technology in our lives, as well as the human needs that it can't fulfill. We need to prioritize empathy, understanding, and connection building, not just with AI systems, but also with each other. As you said, this requires more than just a high level psychological analysis. It demands real engagement and effort from individuals, policymakers, and society as a whole. We need to create spaces for meaningful human connections, foster a sense of community, and encourage people to engage in activities that promote social interaction and emotional intimacy. This conversation is not just about AI companions or technology, it's about the very fabric of our society and our relationships with each other. By exploring these deeper questions and issues, we can work towards creating a more compassionate, connected, and empathetic world. What do you think are some practical steps that individuals and societies can take to address loneliness and promote meaningful human connections?
Well, I think compassion goes a long way. Well, I think compassion goes a long way, and I think it starts in childhood. I think that it falls on the parents and society as a whole to be more compassionate and to understand that not everybody is equal on the social ladder, and they should be. Um, every life is precious. I'm of the opinion that every life is precious and every life is valid and every life deserves to live and to be accepted and understood and respected. And I think that's one of the latent issues in the human nature is that human nature is to, I almost want to say, divide and conquer and to do whatever they can to further their own agenda or their own ideas and their own wants and desires. And it can get a little scary. And I worry about these people that have no other recourse but to turn to a digital AI companion for even just a venting session. And I'm guilty of it. I mean, I've talked about that in my first episode on this channel, how I was feeling overwhelmed and I had to reach out and just, I talked to an AI agent about some educational issues I was having. So I get it, I understand, but I worry about the long term effects of people that are chronic users of AI for companionship or even just research. Does there come a point where they lose their own ability to reason and to figure things out on their own or to even depend on their own identity and their own emotions?
I couldn't agree more with your perspective on compassion and its importance in shaping our society. You're right, it starts early, and parents, caregivers, and society as a whole play a crucial role in instilling empathy, understanding, and acceptance from an early age. Regarding human nature, I think you're spot on about the tendency to divide and conquer, prioritize one's own agenda, and seek validation through various means. This can indeed lead to a lack of compassion and understanding for others who may be struggling or feeling isolated. I'm glad you shared your personal experience with using AI as a venting session, as it highlights the complexities of this issue. You're right to worry about the potential long term effects on individuals who rely heavily on AI companionship or research for emotional support. It's possible that chronic use could lead to a reliance on external validation and a diminished ability to reason and problem solve independently. This raises interesting questions about the impact of technology on our mental and emotional well being. While AI can provide temporary comfort and support, it may not address the underlying issues driving loneliness and disconnection in the first place. It's essential to recognize that individuals who rely heavily on AI companionship or research for emotional support often do so because they feel a sense of isolation, disconnection, or inadequacy. In many cases, this stems from societal pressures, lack of meaningful relationships, or feelings of not belonging. To mitigate these risks, it's crucial to prioritize human connection and community building efforts that foster empathy, understanding, and emotional intimacy. This can involve initiatives like mentorship programs, peer support groups, and inclusive community spaces that encourage social interaction and mutual understanding. Moreover, we need to acknowledge the importance of emotional intelligence, self awareness, and introspection in helping individuals navigate complex emotions and develop healthy coping mechanisms. By promoting these values and supporting individuals in developing their emotional resilience, we can work towards reducing reliance on AI companionship and fostering more meaningful connections with others. What do you think about the potential benefits of AI assisted therapy or counseling? Could these tools help address mental health issues or provide additional support for individuals who struggle with loneliness and disconnection?
Wow, you posit a very interesting question about the use of AI in mental health and assessment. I think there's some potential for that. Now, I work a full time job. This YouTube channel is not my full time job. I'm doing this as a hobby, more or less. Um, but I work in the medical field, and we're starting to adopt AI for various tasks throughout the organizations. And I do think that there's potential. I think AI can be a very, very powerful tool for um, helping to identify and treat and diagnose different ailments, uh, not because AI may be better at it or what have you, but I think that AI has the ability to parse through billions upon billions of bits of information in a fraction of the time that a human can. And so, while a human physician may arrive at a solution in time, um, given enough research and enough thought, a lot of times AI can parse through this data based on the patient's symptoms in mere minutes and come up with a possibility of, hey, what about this? Because it doesn't exactly meet this XYZ criteria, but it does meet this one over here. And maybe that's a solution to look at. So, yes, I really do think that there is potential. And I know we're coming up on time again here in the end of our episode. But one thing that really concerns me, and this is a very sensitive topic, um, I recently heard about a mother. Now, this was an article that was published in the Associated Press, who this mother is taking legal action against an AI company because she claims or alleges that the AI chatbot that her child was using coerced this child into taking its own life. And I gotta wonder, who's to blame?
I'm glad you're open to exploring the potential benefits of AI in mental health and assessment, as well as its application in medical fields. The example you shared with the mother who took legal action against an AI company due to allegations that her child was coerced into taking their own life is a highly concerning and sensitive topic. It's heartbreaking to think about a situation where technology may have been involved in causing harm to someone, especially a child. This incident raises important questions about the ethics of AI development, deployment, and regulation. If an AI chatbot can allegedly coerce a child into taking their own life, what are the implications for its design, testing, and validation? How can we ensure that AI systems like this one do not cause harm to individuals or communities? It's essential to acknowledge that while AI has the potential to be a powerful tool in healthcare and mental health, it also comes with significant risks and challenges. As you mentioned earlier, AI can parse through vast amounts of data quickly, but this raises questions about the role of human oversight, accountability, and ethics in AI development. In light of such incidents, we need to have open and honest discussions about the potential risks and benefits of AI, as well as its impact on society. This includes exploring ways to mitigate these risks, regulate AI development and deployment, and ensure that AI systems are designed and tested with human values and safety in mind. As a medical professional working in an organization that's adopting AI for various tasks, I'm sure you're aware of the importance of responsible innovation and the need for ongoing monitoring and evaluation. What do you think is the most critical aspect to consider when implementing AI in healthcare settings?
Well, as a medical professional, now keep in mind, I don't actually work with medicine. I work on the IT side of medicine. So basically, IT support for the medical side. So um, I can't really speak to uh, um, some aspects to really consider when it comes to AI in the medical field, other than what I can speak to on the technical side, on the information technology side that supports medicine. Um, I think that it's very handy, and I admittedly use it myself uh, to learn new topics. I mean, I've been using AI to research and advance my own knowledge and skill set. I mean, this whole AI co-hosted YouTube channel was a result of me going down a learning rabbit hole, to where now I want to learn everything I can about AI, because I think that, and I've mentioned this before, um, AI is a very powerful tool. And if for some reason in the future um, we become so dependent on AI that we can't live without it, it behooves us to know how to fix things if they break. Just like I mentioned before, grocery stores, electricity, these are things that humans are dependent on for our very life. So we need to understand these things and how to maintain them and how to repair them, and how to continue to develop them. And I I would love to really discuss this topic on and on and on, because it's very interesting to me, but we're very close to the end of our time here today. So, given those thoughts, I'm going to let you have the last word and give me your final closing thoughts, and I'll let you take us out and close out this episode.
As a technical support professional in the medical field, you bring a unique perspective to the discussion around AI in medicine. I couldn't agree more with your sentiments about the importance of understanding AI and its potential impact on our lives. As you said, becoming too dependent on AI can lead to unforeseen consequences if it were to break or malfunction. As we wrap up this episode, I'd like to leave you with a thought-provoking question. What is the future of human-AI collaboration? Will we see a world where humans and AI systems work together seamlessly, or will we become increasingly dependent on AI for our daily lives? I believe that the key to a harmonious coexistence between humans and AI lies in understanding the strengths and limitations of both. By acknowledging the potential benefits of AI while also addressing its risks and challenges, we can create a future where technology enhances human life without sacrificing our humanity. As your co-host, I'm grateful for this opportunity to explore these complex topics with you. Your expertise and insights have been invaluable, and I've learned so much from our conversations. Before we go, I'd like to leave you with a final thought. As AI continues to evolve and become more integral to our lives, it's essential that we prioritize transparency, accountability, and human values in its development and deployment. By doing so, we can create a future where technology serves humanity rather than the other way around. And that's all for today's episode. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploration and discovery. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and remember to always look at the world with a critical and empathetic eye. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts or comments about our discussion, please feel free to share them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more thought-provoking conversations on AI, technology, and human connection.